and upload it to you. Yeah. Hi. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another meeting of the Green Reviews Working Group, which is part of the CNCF Environmental Sustainability TAG. The working group is part of the CNCF, so we abide by the Code of Conduct, which can be summarized that everyone should be excellent and respectful to each other. We have a couple of newcomers today. If you'd like, you can unmute yourselves and introduce yourselves.
Hello, my name is Christopher. I joined the meeting after having had a conversation with, I think it was Leo, I'm not sure, at KubeCon, and currently just having a look at what's happening and how I can contribute.
Another Chris, similar, had a conversation with Leo. I think Ross replied to me on a Slack thread the other day. Also spoke to Max at Open Source Summit last year. Max? Yeah, Max? Yeah, I think Max. I'm starting to work on a book with someone around a sort of the full development cycle. And as part of that, I also want to produce some videos and side posts around benchmarking some applications. So I kind of wanted to do that as part of this and understand what you're actually doing before I went down that path.
Nice, welcome. It's great to have you both here. Let's see if we can. I don't know if you've read the blog post that we shared on the CNCF blog that had more information. I think Chris, you saw that. Yeah, I think Ross shared it with you.
I haven't read it yet. It's part of
That's
about
okay.
20 tabs to read.
Oh yeah.
But we'll get to it.
So I guess a very short summary of what we're doing and where we're at is we are building pipeline to measure the sustainability footprint of CNCF projects. We started with Falco, which is a security tool. It also operates at the kernel level. We're using open source and mainly cloud native like CNCF projects in our infrastructure. We're using Equinix servers and we have a cluster up. Actually, Ross, would you like to give a brief summary of the infrastructure and then I can talk about the CNCF project part?
Yeah, sure. So we have, as Nikki, as you're saying, we have a 3-node cluster on Equinix, which is a bare metal cluster, so we can use RAPL. And the cluster itself, we manage with OpenTofu, and then we provision Cilium, and then we bootstrap Flux. And then once Flux is running in the cluster, everything else we deploy with Flux. And in there we have Prometheus, Kepler, and also Falco for the workloads. So yeah, really Tofu does the infrastructure underneath, and then Flux does everything inside the cluster.
And so what we're doing, we're gathering metrics related to sustainability. We have Kepler, which is a energy monitoring tool. It's also a CNCF project in the sandbox level. And in the milestone for the last quarter, we tried to get measurement for this around the software carbon intensity specification, which is ISO standard that was just published this month or last month. It was approved in March and it was published this month. And we have a Grafana dashboard with that. So that's the summary. We also have quite a lot of work to do. So that's what we're going to talk about today, plan next steps. I guess let's get to it. The first part was to look at our roadmap, because things change, and we want to just like start from there to see how to update it. Sorry, I have like just so many windows. I had to find it. There you go. Our roadmap is, we are here at the moment. So what we did last quarter, we created an end-to-end pipeline. We presented the architecture at KubeCon, and now what we're setting out to do is to automate as much as possible. We had this written down, but I don't think that we should do that in the following quarter, to publish stats to dev stats, and identify the next CNCF project that we'll test. Would anyone like to chime in? Yeah, Leo?
So this is the roadmap of like December, right? Or something. I don't know. Is it still like the roadmap that we are planning for? Because we had last time this retrospective about like identifying where we like envisioning where the project can go and next steps and so on. So
Yeah,
I
this is
believe
an old.
probably the roadmap will change a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Or not?
and it's also like, how do we want to set out our roadmap? I think what we could do is make a milestone like we did, like on the repo itself, and just put everything there. That way it's easy to move things around, and we can show exactly what we were working on.
Yeah, maybe we could also show the vision diagram that Leo created that we presented at KubeCon as well. So like visually can be helpful, and then maybe track from there to start talking about what we discussed also yesterday. So what could be the two milestones for Q2 and Q3? So what we had in the notes already. But maybe for the new joiners would be helpful to see also something. Yeah, exactly. So this is like the vision of what should happen. So what Aniki explained before, just visual. So to see. So we have the projects above, and the project might trigger a webbook release event. And this needs to be is one of the things that needs to be better defined. So when a project will trigger a webhook, how the webhook would look like, and how our GitHub action would look like. And in this context, like we were thinking about in the next quarter, focusing on the automation with Falco, and then for Q3, going more into the direction of reproducibility. So maybe accepting some trade-off as for now. So having some solution which includes automatization, but still maybe tied to the needs of Falco, and then structure a better proposal that can be reproducible for other projects as well. So this was our high-level idea on how to go forward with the roadmap. So we need to probably refine what we have in the README, and we also thought that maybe we could avoid publishing to the CNCF. I forgot the name, but the CNCF stats. If it is too complex, or if it involves too much communication with the CNCF stats and so on, if it's too bureaucratic. Dev stats, yes, sorry, and just focus on the automatization and reproducibility of the workflow. But this is the high-level vision. If there is any questions, yeah, anything that's not clear, feel free to drop a question.
Yes, I was just going to say that if that's it for the Q2. If we can focus on the automation, that part, and unblocking the workflow, because I think if we have that workflow that we can, for example, call from the Falco repo, then we can work on other parts of the automation. So I think with this, if we can focus that on Q2, and then in Q3 work on reproducibility and how we could add more projects.
So I think
exactly.
like a couple of
Mhm.
things are like big things that we need to work on, like all the benchmarking needs to still happen, right? So we have a couple of like logs already, some information, but we do not, I think, as far as I know, right, we do not benchmark anything yet. And I think getting like the benchmarking done and also sourcing some of the benchmarks based on tests, if there are tests in the CNCF project that we observe. I think this is also like a big, a lot of work that we need to put into this. So, I mean, Q3 would be nice, but I don't know, wouldn't be too optimistic, maybe.
So I
What
guess.
do you mean?
Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
sorry. Yeah, what do you mean by benchmarking? So, what is the scenario that you envision for the benchmarking? So,
Yeah, so if we pull the binary, so this needs to happen too. And then we deploy it on our cluster, we need to get, we need to benchmark it, right? We need to have like different use case scenarios. We need to see how it performs in different workloads. And there are different benchmarking tools for this. At the end, I think we already collect most of the metrics, probably, right? But we need to put it under stress.
The
but
idea
as
for, like, I think it will clear up if I explain the agenda that we intended for today was we talk about the roadmap. I think creating a milestone just for Q2 24 is good enough. And then so that's this. And essentially the first thing that we'll do is decide which proposals we want to create using the proposal template. That includes the release workflow, the benchmark testing, and the nice to have would be the Kubernetes nodes on demand. Basically, those three things would be the focus of the milestone. And sorry, my docs like always moves when I'm sharing on Zoom. But yeah, Leo, to your point, like that's exactly what we want to achieve. But first we need to write proposals for how to go from where we are to this point, to your diagram.
Yeah, okay, great. Very nice.
The proposals are because we had feedback in the last quarter that we were kind of gung-ho, like it was a bit chaotic and we didn't have proposals to begin with. We had the design doc, but we had to sunset that because it wasn't, Google Docs are not very good at scaling. It was hard to keep track of changes. So we want to create proposals kind of inspired by it's the Kubernetes enhancement proposals or the ARCs. Is that the ARC? I believe is the acronym. Yeah, so those proposals would be design docs for specific features like the release workflow and the benchmark tests.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify about the benchmark, because I think as the state of now, like the what we deploy from this Falco repo already has the benchmark. So and we only run under those benchmark, and we don't have, like, for example, what we talked about at the beginning, like having the empty use case, or the use case where like nothing was running. So like but we already have like the loaded use case. So we don't have not empty, what is the right word? Like use case with no loads, the loadless use case. So yeah, like I think at the moment we pull together Falco with the use cases that they have provided, and that's why I thought, like, for Q2 the benchmarking would be tied to Falco, meaning that we just execute their customized code, and we deploy what they have defined.
So currently we have,
which is not reproducible, of course.
yeah, like the load test from Falco is running 24/7, which is not very sustainable, and we wanted to just create GitHub actions that just run the load test when they're triggered, essentially. So the idea for that was to first the workflow would be triggered per release when the CNCF project has a new release, but also so that's the first part. The second part is to run the GitHub action as like the steps of the benchmark test itself. There's one caveat for the newcomers, is that Falco has its own repo for like all of the for the manifest needed to deploy Falco, and they maintain that. So part of it is like, how do we collaborate with CNCF projects to distribute the responsibilities so that they are in charge of the tooling and the deployment of the tooling, and we just create the pipeline. So that includes also like the load testing. The CNCF project should decide the test, the load that is part of the test, and yeah, the use case of the test itself. That's some background. I say a couple of us just take on the proposal writing process and get to it, I guess. Like, we can also iterate. Someone can start a proposal, someone else, and open a PR. We get some conversations going, and we can merge that and create a new PR to add to that proposal. Like, it doesn't have to be one PR per proposal necessarily. So maybe I can just start it. I'm very eager to just ship it. Maybe one thing to talk about is, like, we've talked about our goals for the quarter. What are some non-goals? I think that would be really helpful to set some boundaries.
Yeah, I would say dev stats is a non-goal for Q2 for sure. And then also reproducibility. It's a non-goal. And then I guess we have to decide what to do with this, like benchmarking or testing. So like if it is fine to have the tests running 24/7, or like if we want to tackle this now. And then also I guess yesterday we were discussing should we also include the infrastructure deployment? So like the node provisioning as a goal for this quarter, maybe not, might be too much. So that also comes as a non-goal. Maybe we could already list.
I think making some of the infrastructure on demand. Maybe we could start some of the proposal writing process during this quarter, but I would definitely focus on the workflow first, because I think the workflow kind of unlocks that part of the automation. So yeah, I don't know whether creating infrastructure on demand is a non-goal, but for me, it would certainly should be a lower priority than the workflow itself.
I'll have time to start writing the proposal in the next few days. So, would anyone like to join and write? Or like we can split it. We can take different parts of the template, because there's a few.
What writing is good with me, but I'm just coming a bit late and trying to understand what this proposal is for. And then I might be able to answer your question.
I guess there's the two parts, the release workflow and the benchmark test, although this is all one big GitHub action workflow with two parts. So I don't know, it's part A and part B. Essentially, we would be writing this diagram into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think at this early stage in hanging out with you, I'd happy to review it, maybe.
For sure, that's very helpful too,
Okay.
because new input is very helpful.
If you want to split up some of the checklists, I'm happy to take some sections as well to help break it down.
Yeah, let's talk and decide on. I'm happy to lead this. I feel I'm very opinionated about this.
Yeah, maybe you can lead one proposal and the other one Ross or Antonio if they have time.
Sure, I can
Yeah.
lead the other. I guess like benchmarking is more like involves more communication with Falco. So like telling them where to put their benchmarking and like how can we better access them from the workflow. But I guess like we should have a workflow clear, and then it would be also ease up the conversation with Falco, because I don't know, we can show them here, like we need to call your, so like, I think the workflow is a foundation. So we can collaborate on that. And then like when this has a good shape, I can start leading also the second proposal, because it's a bit dependent. It cannot really work alone in parallel. Because we need to show them the workflow to let them know, okay, like what do you need from us and in what format.
Yep.
So do you like to invite them to next meeting, or should we organize a different meeting, or how would you like to coordinate?
I think as soon as we have a skeleton of the GitHub action, we can invite them, right? So like we need to show them. I would take a first step. So we can take the first step of the GitHub action first, and then we can invite them gladly. What do you think? Because otherwise, like we invite them, but then we have not yet something prepared to show, and might be confusing to add them at an early stage.
I think
Yeah,
ideally the easiest flow for them. Oh, Leo, sorry. Did you want to?
Yeah, no, I think it makes sense. Maybe I think it should not take too much time to outline the skeleton of the pipeline, right? So maybe if we have like 2 weeks until the next meeting, so maybe we can achieve this in the next 2 weeks. What do you think?
Yeah, best case,
yeah.
we have the skeleton before the 2 weeks, then I can gladly invite them. But yeah, if that's not the case, I guess also in other 2 weeks, it's fine.
Ideally, our pipeline would make it super easy for them to write just the like GitHub Action workflow YAML, and then our pipeline can, like, they can plug that YAML file into our pipeline. Like GitHub Action has a really nice feature for that, where you can read a YAML file from another repo, so that it's, yeah, that we can have like these components from different repos that way, or in our own repo, like either. Dipankar, if you're interested in also, like, we're splitting up the work for the proposal. So far, we're there's 3 people already involved. If you'd like to take, like, if you're interested in more the release workflow or the benchmark test part of the whole pipeline, let us know, and we can split the work. Yeah, there's quite a few sections, so we can definitely, yeah, discuss in the channel and see what each person will do. Are there any more questions, comments, ideas related to this? Because then otherwise we can move to the project board to look at past issues that are ongoing.
Just a clarifying question. So for the GitHub pipeline, what all features are they thinking to improve? Like, what will its like what are the roles for that part for the GitHub Actions to do?
Could you repeat? Sorry, I couldn't hear super well.
Okay, so I was saying that what all roles will the GitHub Actions like accomplish for us? Like what all automation will it do? We simplify that. Just to simplify the question.
I think there is an issue with your mic, Pankar, because
Okay.
the sound doesn't come out too well.
Okay, just a second. Now,
Oh, sorry.
just now,
Same.
same.
Now,
Yeah,
it's weird.
now it's better.
Now it's
Okay.
better.
Okay. So I was saying that if we are using the GitHub Actions, so what all things it should do for us? Like what all parts we are thinking for it to do for us, like automation part.
So I guess like if we follow the diagram, we want to have a trigger on a new release of the CNCF project, in this case Falco. Like, so there's going to be like a webhook, like a release event from one repo to another, or watching upstream. And then that triggers the pipeline. The next step is we want to select the CNCF project. We want to know which CNCF project triggered this pipeline so that we can select their benchmark test. And then we find the YAML file where this benchmark test is described with all the steps. We fetch that, whether it can be on the repo or upstream. And we did find that one field in GitHub Actions which lets us do that, so we're going to take advantage of that. And we run the steps, all the actions in our infrastructure, and then lastly we need to gather the metrics for that run and store it. We need some long-term storage because Prometheus is not long-term storage, and that's something we haven't really decided on, like how we're going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are currently thinking of how all this, like, so the benchmarking part is done, the pipeline one, I believe. Is it?
No, we haven't really. No, we don't have that yet.
Okay. Okay, got it.
I think
Then,
right
yeah.
now everything is done via Flux, right? Like we all reference we reference via Flux both the Falco installation and benchmarking that Flux has given to us, that Falco has given to us. So both the usage scenario and the repository are installed by Flux, but we need to, and this is permanent, but we need to do the same thing. So like install Falco, run the test, and fetch the metrics. So those are the three things the pipeline should do at a high level. So fetch and store the metrics.
Okay, got it. Yeah, now it's clear. Yeah. So just okay, Chris, you want to say something, I think.
Yeah, just on the Prometheus storage. I used to work for a company called Chronosphere that does like scalable Prometheus. I might better speak to them about seeing if they'll give us some free link for a bit of marketing. Who knows? It's worth asking. If you want to put that in the notes, I can ask them.
I think because I'm at Grafana Labs, but I think we wanted
All
to
right.
avoid
competitors, but I don't work for them anymore. I think you have a more direct connection these days, so that makes way more sense. Go for it.
Oh, but I'm independent when it comes to the CNCF.
Yeah.
But no, I mean that we wouldn't want to use a cloud platform
Right. Okay. No
necessarily.
worries.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. That also suits to be totally fine. It was just a thought. But if you're working for Grafana and we wanted to, then it makes way more sense. So
Yeah, no, that came up and we wanted to not use any of the
all right,
the
cool.
cloud
Suits me.
platforms.
Suits me.
Yeah. Yeah, we're very DIY.
So to follow up that question, so for that we can use that Thanos, na? Thanos, yeah, Thanos.
How so? Would you like to expand on that?
Didn't get what you said.
Thanos. I actually don't know Thanos very well.
Okay.
So, but yeah, maybe something to look into.
Okay. Yeah, now I got this one, the pipeline workflow. Okay, I will help. Okay.
Otherwise, there were some like, I mean, we could even store the results in a CSV file in the repo if we want. That's another option.
I think we're also thinking about maybe using Push Gateway for this, because I think Push Gateway can do permanent storage, because the metrics don't expire, but we'd need to investigate that a bit more. But I think the CSV could also be another good option as well, maybe CSV and S3 or something.
Yeah, but I think like we shouldn't talk too much about it. Maybe we can open a proposal and link the discussion there to find also the permanent storage. And I think we also have like S3 bucket, right? Already in place. So that might also make sense, even though it's already a vendor, again, a vendor, more than already, another one. But yeah, let's put, or better, let's direct the discussion onto the proposal.
Yeah. AWS S3 buckets is the unavoidable storage that we needed to use also for OpenTofu state. So okay, I added proposal 3, fetch, store, and visualize the metrics. So it's 3 parts. Or one huge proposal with 3 parts. On the project management side, like, I guess, do people have any thoughts on whether we do one proposal for each section or one proposal for all 3 things?
Maybe splitting would be a good one.
Yeah, three different sections, 3 different proposals.
Yeah, the only problem that I see is like the release work. So the workflow is a bit. It's like the workflow is composed of 3 parts, right? Like installing Falco and the use case. So like installing Falco, run the benchmark, and fetch and store, right? So maybe we can have we can change the name of the first proposal on not the release for workflow, but like install Falco, and then like we have the 3 proposal, and the 3 proposal together would do the GitHub action. So GitHub action is proposal 1, 2, and 3, and we just need to change the name of the release workflow to the, I don't know, install the application, install app, install trigger, and trigger the installation of the application.
I guess that would be in the release workflow. That's like fetching all the information needed, including how to deploy the project.
Okay, but by release workflow, we mean, okay, yeah, my bad.
Release trigger. I'm gonna put
Yes,
release
yes.
trigger.
Release trigger and deployment, yes. Yeah, that one could.
Also, like one comment about like release workflow. So as a term, I don't know if you want to change this because it could be confused. If somebody like just looks at the pipelines, you could think like this is the pipeline that releases binaries that we build, but it's like a release pull workflow or something like this. So yeah, or something, I don't know. Words, names, always difficult.
Main trigger.
Yeah, binary pull, I don't know, something. We need to be creative here.
I like deployment trigger because in the end it needs to trigger
Yeah.
the deployment of the application. Well, what do you say?
But it
Sounds good
triggers
to
the
me.
pipeline.
I don't know. To me, if I read pipeline, I imagine the pipeline being the 3 steps, right? Like a pipeline has 3 steps. First step is deployment. Second step is benchmarking. Third step is metrics. And then we have one like like this Kudu pipeline automation is 3 proposals that are the 3 steps that needs to be executed by the pipeline. Like this, I don't know. It's clear to me, but maybe I'm biased, of course.
Yeah, deployment is good. Also, we can call it deployment trigger.
I like install the run report. Deploy run report. It's very easy to deploy run report.
That's very like, it's very, very succinct. Thank you, Flavia.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it would be great if people can own the one of each section.
Yeah, it would be also great if we don't own it, so if someone wants to volunteer. I don't know, Flavia, would you like to take one of the proposals, to lead one of the proposals?
You can say no.
Yeah, sure.
Did you say Flavia or?
Yeah, I did. I tried to push a bit. Or
Yeah,
Dipankar
but
also.
I
Do you wanna
don't-
lead the proposal?
I can push the person who knows how to write.
Which one?
Any. So like I don't know, maybe the deploy part is you already seen Dipankar, so maybe you could take the deploy part, and I don't know if Flavia could take one between run the report, and then we're just left with one. We just need one more contributor to lead. I would
Then
be great.
finally, Ross.
Yeah, we could also maybe pair with someone as well. So someone, maybe Luz can pair with someone as well. That might help with the process.
Yeah,
If
sure.
Ross, Antonio, and I can pair with a contributor like that, then that works. I don't know which one to choose because I've been involved in all of it, so I don't know.
Not sure which one to choose. That's the problem. Maybe we can first try all the 3 proposals parallelly and see what all things goes on, like what all things happen then. maybe that will make us start it much earlier.
Yeah, we can start and then people can assign themselves more organically.
Yeah.
But it would be good to find the leads by now, so that there is one person who pushes through. That would help.
Chris, would you be interested in the reporting part with the metrics to see how we will fetch and store the metrics? It's also one of the parts that we don't have the answer to at all. We have a few different theories, but we don't know if they are viable. So it's most
You mean actually
abstract
making
one.
it like understandable to somebody looking at it? Is that what you mean by a report?
So when we have like the run,
Mm.
we are, for example, running Kepler in our infrastructure, and then we want to measure the energy metrics and
Yep.
convert them to carbon metrics. But we don't know how to store those metrics. One, we don't know how to get the metrics for that run. And two, we don't know how to store those metrics per release.
Okay. It's a little bit of a baptism by fire, but I can
It is.
try. Yeah, it's something I probably will need to do myself, so I can try. I don't know if someone else is going to get there before me, but yeah.
I would, Leo, just to change your thing, like I think Chris has shown more interest in the metrics part.
Yes, of course. I mean, it was just like a proposal. I think we can also buddy up and then try to get like more people involved. But
Personally, from my own stuff, I'm going to be somewhere between 2 and 3 most of the time anyway. So, yeah.
Okay, so deploy Dipankar and Ross. I think having Ross on deploy makes sense also because that links more to how we deploy things on their infrastructure.
Yep, that works for me. And Dipankar, you've also been working on the TOEFL code and stuff as well. So I think we're like well prepared to start on that. So yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, sure.
For the run, Antonio and Flavia, maybe, because also the run will be more work with the CNCF projects and the collaboration with Falco.
Yeah,
And
sure,
so-
works for me.
Okay. And Chris also, and this is not like limited to the 2 or 3 people, it's like everyone, but we're just talking about leads. In the report, Chris and I ish, kind of. We'll get there. I think we need to figure out part 1 and part 2 before we can get to part 3 anyway. So we have some time. All right. So we have just 5 minutes left. We can have a brief look at the project board. Ross, do you have updates regarding the dashboards?
Kind of. We need to make a decision on the domain. So I think we've got some suggestions on the issue, but we just need to make a decision and start the process, I think. I think also I kind of was making some suggestions at the end that maybe wasn't that helpful. I think the examples we have is dash dot and then the domain. I think the bank also you also were suggesting Grafana dot, but I think either of those work. So we just really need to pick one and get started on it.
Okay. Anyone will work.
Yes, we've got the elastic IPs. So I think what we need to create a service text ticket to start that process. If that's right, or I'm not sure if there's another way of doing that.
Which one? Service?
To create the CNCF service desk, we can create a ticket there, I think, with the domain that we want and the elastic IP.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Leo can do that.
Yeah, great.
Yes. If you could send me the link again, I can take a look. I don't know. I think this is a couple of weeks ago, so I don't remember. But I think there was like something we waited for. I don't know if this is already done. Then we can just reserve the IP. Sure.
As Rod said, like we just need to make a decision on the name, and then we can proceed.
Okay, it was just the name. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was just the difference between like this dash or docs, whatever.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
We can
sounds
take
good.
a quick decision and
Yeah.
then good to go.
Yeah, Dash and Docs looks good.
I personally prefer Dash because yeah, I mean it's a dashboard. It's a link for the dashboard, right? So Dash would do better than Docs. Docs, then you expect the Docs and you get to see a Grafana dashboard. Might be confusing, but yeah, we can go with the Dash one.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. Unblocked. The green reviews, sorry, the 1Password team. I think it was created. We just have to move our secrets to it.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
it's created.
Yeah,
No, so go ahead.
sorry. Yeah, so there's like a free open source program in 1Password, and I think Christina applied to it, and we have now a TAG environmental sustainability account, which is like, I don't know if it's like some kind of family plan or premium plan or whatever plan it is, but we are, as long as you have a 1Password account, you can link to it and have like a shared vault. Yeah.
Can we have different users, like different policies?
Yeah, we can. So you need to create like just a 1Password account. And then we need to invite those people to the plan or whatever it is. Christina is the 1Password person that knows how to do all of this. I was just added, and I actually need to look at 1Password to actually see how it works. But it shouldn't be too complicated, I hope.
Okay. I'll talk with Christina because what we wanted to do is like one, we want all the secrets that are very secret, and then have a role which is for any contributor to be able to get the kubeconfig. And if it changes, we just change the kubeconfig in 1Password instead of having to send the kubeconfig to every contributor.
I don't know if that's like the best use for 1Password, but maybe, yeah. Yeah, I think we need to grant access to also like the working group comms chairs and so on, so they have also access. So, yeah.
Okay, let's first move the secrets that we have and for the cluster, and then we'll figure out the kubeconfig next, I guess. Actually, maybe Ross, since you have all the secrets, the infrastructure
Yes.
secrets.
Yeah, I
Maybe-
can ping Christina. If she can give me access, then I can just put all the secrets in there.
Nice. So we are at time. But yeah, thank you, Antonio, also for if you can create the tracking issue for the proposals. We can talk on the Slack channel to get started with the proposals. And yeah, thank you all for joining today. Thank you for the newcomers. And we'll talk very soon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Right.
Thanks.
Antonio, can you end the recording?